What if I told you that when you spend money to download a game or a movie or a TV show, you probably don't own it? You probably don't have hardly any rights at all regarding that which you have downloaded. It can be taken away from you at almost any time. Well, that's what many PlayStation users are learning today, as over 1,000 titles are being ripped out of the hands, out of the hard drives, and out of the online space of the PlayStation Store and the consumers who purchased those items already. And why? Well, so that you'll have to go onto a new streaming platform in order to access those titles again. Once again, giving them your hard-earned money. Today, we're talking about some things regarding physical media and how the industry and perhaps even Congress have worked to make sure that you, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the digital space, when it comes to your favorite entertainment, you own nothing. Hello folks, and welcome back to the WDW Pro channel. It is a joy as always that you join us. Happy to have you, and we're also happy to have Martin Stone joining us as well. Sir, welcome back to the channel.
Glad to be here.
All right, folks, we're going to be talking about the fact that more than 1,000 titles have been eliminated from the PlayStation Store. Not only that, though, if you paid for them, if you bought these titles, you still don't get to watch them, and that has people up in arms right now. Many people, many young people too, just discovering for the very first time that if you don't have physical media, you don't have much at all. We'll start with this article out of the New York Times. It says PlayStation will delete purchased Discovery shows. This by Eduardo Medina. Sony announced on Monday that it would remove all Discovery content, including shows like Mythbusters and Deadliest Catch from user libraries, even if they had been purchased on the PlayStation Store. So it's sort of like if you bought a car and then the dealership said, no, we just had that demolished. You purchased it, but you don't own the car. The company, which owns and operates PlayStation game consoles, said in a brief statement that the Discovery shows would be deleted on December 31st, attributing the decision to our content licensing arrangements with content providers. They made no apparent comment about their content licensing arrangements with customers. The move came as Warner Brothers Discovery, which owns Discovery Content, is seeking to add more subscribers to its Max and Discovery Plus streaming services in competition with others like Netflix and Disney Plus. And I guess then we can also say that Discovery, they probably have their hands dirty in this as well. And when it comes to trying to get you to go to Max and Discovery Plus, the best way to get people to want your product is probably not to delete what they have spent their money on having in the first place. Users can also stream and buy content on the PlayStation. More than 1,200 purchasable titles will be removed from the PlayStation Store, Forbes reported, including Cake Boss, which followed the adventures of a family-owned bakery in New Jersey for over a decade, and American Chopper, a reality series about the hot-headed owners of the Orange County Choppers motorcycle garage. PlayStation console users expressed frustration, as one might, when something they have bought and paid for is removed without any legal recourse. Martin, before we go to the article in which you wrote that covers a great deal of content regarding this, is this legal, and how exactly is this happening?
Well, yeah, it is legal because buried in the fine print that none of us ever read is just advantageous language for the content providers that say you don't actually own this, you have access to it so long as we have a distribution agreement with the provider.
So is it more like a lease then?
Yeah, I guess maybe it is. I think it's worse than a lease. I think it's because these things can be changed on a moment's notice, as we're seeing.
So then, in other words, when we quote unquote purchase material, downloaded material, whether it be video games or whether it be movies or TV shows, what you're saying is that often in the fine print, it suggests that we have spent money so that as long as the company so wishes, we can view it. But there is literally no ownership on our part. We have basically entrusted the company to have goodwill towards us.
Right. And so, like, if you think back, did you ever play Rock Band?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay, Rock Band was great. But you could download those extra track packs and things like that. But once that server was gone, unless you had the file on your system, whatever you're using, Wii or Xbox or whatever, you couldn't download what you paid for anymore because it was no longer being serviced.
And this is actually even worse, Martin, because In this
Exactly.
case, it appears that even if you had downloaded it, they're going to delete it.
Yeah, they're going to yank it off your hard drive because you have to
Wow.
be always on.
Wow. That is impressive. And I don't know what the rules are. I'm assuming that if you're offline, you can't even, it won't even allow you to play it either. Is that right?
You see, I don't know that part I'm not clear on, but a lot of these systems are not very useful if you're not online
I'm going to bet
anymore.
it requires online access before it'll even let you play them. That's going to be my guess on that. And, this really, what a strange world. I think it's a great argument for people owning physical media.
Oh, absolutely.
Although perhaps there's a way that companies can find to disable the ability for you to use physical media. I don't know what that might be, but who knows? I do want to read your article that you wrote for thatparkplace.com on December 5th. PlayStation removing hundreds of purchase discovery shows proves the rule: if you can't sell it, you don't own it. And that's a great point, Martin, because you can't sell these items once you buy them. They are non-fungible, and they just sit either online or on your hard drive for you to access. So it's sort of like you've bought a key, but that key can be removed from your keychain at any point, and that key only opens the door to the specific content. Let me read your article, and then I want to get your take on some of this. And folks, although we're not going to read the entire article, you can click on the link down in the video description to find out more. About a year ago, I wrote a piece on how copyright holders were changing the contents of their books for modern sensitivities. Now they're just taking your stuff because you never owned it in the first place. Because of an end to the distribution agreement between Discovery and the PlayStation Store, over 1,000 titles will be removed from the platform. Titles come and go all the time from streaming services, and this is really nothing new. But for some serendipitous reason, this story is breaking through to get more attention. When these things happen, it's not just that the content will not be available for purchase to new buyers, but former purchasers who thought they owned a copy will see it removed from their libraries. I have yet to see if that means copies downloaded to a purchaser's hard drive will be removed or inaccessible. That would be yet another reason why always online requirements for consoles are a bad idea for consumers. And you go on to talk about sort of the way the world works now in regards to these pieces of entertainment. So, Martin, how long do you think they'll even allow us to do physical media? Do you think that there's going to be a resurgence towards physical media? Or do you think that consumers will just sort of acquiesce in a ho-hum kind of way that everything's gone digital and we don't own anything, and if we give you our hard-earned money, it means nothing? What do you think? What are the ramifications here?
Well, okay, let's look at the video game space. That disc that you buy, if you buy a disc at all for whatever AAA rated game is out there, that's not actually the game. That's basically a dongle that you put into your Xbox to allow you to download the game, because there's so many day one patches and things like that. So that's not even the game, the disc that you have. And if you 5 years down the line decide you want to pop it into the Xbox, it very well may not work anyways. So in that way, the Xbox may have a physical media port on it, but how useful is it really?
Martin, there are some who say that we're entering into a world where people will own very little. It seems to me in the digital space that's already the reality. Is that fair?
I think that is fair. I mean, I don't think it's fair to us that we won't own anything, but yeah, I think that's a correct assessment.
And if you own a device, let's say an Xbox or a PlayStation, that still has physical media. By the way, not all Xboxes have a disk drive on them any longer. But if you do have something that will allow an external physical media piece inserted into it and then used to play something, if it's connected to the internet, there's no guarantee that someone couldn't write code or block you, I suppose, from accessing that piece of media because they no longer support it. Is that a possibility as well?
Oh, absolutely. Look at the VCR. Nobody's making players anymore. Nobody makes Betamax anymore. Nobody makes, well, maybe somebody out there makes like high 8 projectors and things like that, but I doubt it. All sorts of things come and go.
So what's the answer then, Martin? If we don't own our own digital assets, if we buy something but we didn't buy anything at all except the good graces of a company to allow us to access their code, so long as they deem that they're happy with our money and they will permit us to do so, what is the solution so that we can enjoy media down the road that we have come to like? What do we do?
Well, assuming you can still buy Blu-rays and DVDs, I'm a big fan of having that physical media. But there are cases where, like, some great movies have never been released on some generations of physical media. For instance, Cocoon is one. It was a major hit, but who's going to buy the 4K Blu-ray release of Cocoon? So nobody's released the 4K Blu-ray of Cocoon, at least not that I've seen. But what I do is I digitize all of my media, and I keep a digital copy of it. I have a service that I've paid for where I can access the media on my own desktop from anywhere in the world. So I've turned myself into my own streaming service.
I see. But what you're saying is that then the actual the code that is the item, the media item, that you have that stored on your local hard drive, and then you're streaming off of that hard drive.
Right. And I also keep backups because I've lost a hard drive before, and it was, hundreds of hours of movies I loved.
Gotcha. And is this something that's easily done by individuals? Is it something that is accepted by the entertainment industry, or is this something that perhaps enters into a gray area?
It's a it's a gray area because the Supreme Court has ruled, at least my understanding, that you can keep a copy of your own media. In fact, Sony was sued by Universal and Disney, and the Supreme Court affirmed. And I cover this a little bit in my article that keeping a recording for your own private usage is not a violation of their license.
And so, do you think then that the companies, their belief is that that's more arduous than the average consumer is willing to do? And so, if there's a small fringe out there that does this, fine, but they're going to move everybody over to a system where you're going to pay, $3, $4 for online content, and in 4 or 5 years, when it's stripped away from you, you'll buy it again on a different service.
Oh, absolutely. Look at Netflix, for instance. With Netflix canceling the disc service, you can't even. Originally, when Netflix released House of Cards and things like that, you could go to Target and buy a copy of House of Cards, and you could hold that and digitize it or whatever. But now their disc service is gone. They don't sell anything. So if Netflix decides, well, we're embarrassed by this thing we did 8 years ago, we're just going to disappear it. We're going to memory hole that thing.
Right. If we want to update it and change certain scenes, or that they can modify it without you even having a say so in it.
Right. And so you're just out of luck with that because your licensing agreement with Netflix doesn't include you being able to download and keep their service or their product.
Right. Exactly. So, Martin, if someone wants to get into this almost digital archaeology of preserving the media that we love, what would be your recommendation for like how expensive is this going to be for someone to digitize all of their media library?
Well, it's not that expensive in money, but it is a little bit in time because your computer may not even have a Blu-ray drive on it. So, you might have to buy a Blu-ray drive. So once you've done that, this is where it starts to get into gray area because according to U.S. law, it is illegal to produce a product that will break the copyright encryption of a Blu-ray. There are some companies outside of the U.S. that produce those things, and you can purchase from them. But I'm not recommending you do illegal things like that. Most of the digital copies I have are from older DVDs that were before all of this copyright protection stuff.
So while we're not attorneys, you're suggesting that there are different rules for DVDs, but then that's a lesser quality piece of digital media that you're storing. It's a lower resolution.
Well, it depends on whether or not they have included encryption technology into the DVD. More recent DVDs do have it. So
I understand.
I try to be
this will be rather impossible.
Violate the law.
Right. So this will be rather impossible then in just a few years.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. They're doing everything they can to cut the consumer out of their ability to keep or pass on the media they love.
Well, this is amazing. You're literally telling me that there's an entire industry who what they are doing right now apparently with the aid of the Supreme Court, is they are making it such that whatever you purchase from anybody is no longer actually yours.
Right. Well, it was Congress that passed the law that prevents a company from producing the encryption breaking technology. Now, I don't know if it's like prohibition was, where it's the sale of the thing or the production of the thing that's illegal, but possession is not illegal. I'm not sure about that. If anybody wants to get into this sort of thing and let us know, hey, do your research, put it in the comments.
Well, this is amazing to me. When we first started this conversation, I would have never thought that we would have arrived at a place where I am learning that an entire industry, with the aid of legislatures and the judiciary, have managed to make it such that consumers cannot own the product, or at least that it's exceedingly difficult to own the product and you can't share the product, etc. I really think you had the title right when you said if you can't sell it, you don't own it.
I wish I could take credit for that. At the end of my article, I do attribute that quote. That's Walter Williams. Brilliant social philosopher.
Excellent. Well, Martin, thank you for stopping by and explaining this to us. Folks out there, if you have purchased something digitally, as I guess all of us have at this point, but if you've lost some of that, drop a comment down below and let us know which titles were removed from you, taken away from you, despite you having paid your hard-earned money for them. We would love to know about it. In any other field, this would be robbery. But apparently, if it's online and it comes from major corporations, well, it's just A-okay. Also, folks, if you like content like this, you can click the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. We will not be striking this away from you. You can have this video anytime you want, and feel free if you want to enjoy it in however you wish. All right, folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Listen up, my brothers and sisters. You've been listening to Phils and Zoes with an agenda to destroy your brain cells for far too long. It's time to change your way of doing things. Hold up. TPP is the place to be. Covering the news so honestly. It's a team that's cool and tried and true. Ahead of the culture curve, they're trying to keep you. Jonas and Pro, they run the show, and they dragged in the bearded culture casino. You got Valiant and Lord and Force of Light. Wonderful people, yeah, they're alright. They got weird bringing in people like Floral, but made no mistake with Lorena Creole. Amelia and John, stuttering guitarist. Martin and Tawny and someone called CMS. Fat Steven makes a bunch of other graphics. Did I mention a partnership with Bending in the comics? Fat Sky is a guy and Doc Matt does the web stuff. There's probably some people I missed. I hope they're not telling you the news that should be fun. With accurate info that's not been spun. You can figure it out as you will see. The TPP is the place to be.